Imagine a world where the most powerful man isn't a king or a president, but a pope. A pope who could forgive your sins, even the worst ones, for a price. A pope who could promise you a place in heaven, but only if you paid enough. This is the world of the 15th and 16th centuries, a time when the Catholic Church held more power and wealth than any other institution on earth. But this power came at a cost, and the cost was often paid by the poor and the innocent. In this world, the church wasn't just a place of worship. It was a business, and a very profitable one at that. The church's leaders, from archbishops to bishops, lived in luxury, often supported by the fees and tithes paid by the common people. These leaders, who were supposed to be shepherds of the faithful, often acted more like wolves, feeding on the blood of the very people they were supposed to protect. The laity, or the regular churchgoers, had been protesting this abuse for centuries. They were tired of being systematically impoverished by the church's insatiable appetite for wealth. In Germany, the situation was so bad that people began to take matters into their own hands. They seized tax collectors from Rome, jailed them, and sometimes even mutilated or executed them. Some brave prelates, like Alvaro Pelayo of Spain, spoke out against the corruption, declaring, "Wolves are in control of the church and feed on Christian blood." Another, Bishop Durand of Mende, demanded that the Church of Rome remove evil examples from herself, by which men are scandalized, and the whole people, as it were, infected. But the Vatican, the seat of the Pope, remained unmoved. Over the years, the Church had only increased its levies, and the people's discontent grew. In 1476, Pope Sixtus IV made a shocking announcement. He proclaimed that indulgences, which were essentially get-out-of-jail-free cards for sins, could now be bought to help souls suffering in purgatory. This was a celestial confidence trick, and it worked. Peasants starved their families and themselves to buy relief for departed relatives. The situation reached a boiling point when Pope Leo X, a man known for his extravagance and wasteful spending, found himself broke. He had spent so much on his wars and luxurious lifestyle that he needed to find a way to refill his coffers. On March 15, 1517, he announced a special sale of indulgences. The purpose of this Jubilee bargain was to rebuild St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. But there was a dark secret behind this announcement. The Pope had made a deal with Albrecht of Brandenburg, the Archbishop of Mainz, who was deeply in debt to the Fugger family, one of the wealthiest merchant families in Germany. Albrecht had paid a hefty sum to the Pope for his position, and the Pope agreed to split the profits from the sale of indulgences with him. To sell these indulgences, the Pope chose Johann Tetzel, a Dominican friar known for his persuasive skills. Tetzel was like a medieval P.T. Barnum, traveling from village to village with a brass-bound chest, a bag of printed receipts, and a large cross draped with the papal banner. He would set up in the nave of the local church and begin his pitch, calling out, "I have here the passports to lead the human soul to the celestial joys of paradise." He would tell the people that the fees were dirt cheap compared to the alternatives. For just a quarter florin, he said, they could secure a letter of remission for any sin, no matter how grave. Tetzel's claims were outrageous. He said that even if a man had committed the most heinous sin, such as sleeping with his mother, he could be forgiven if he paid the right amount. He even claimed that the Pope had more power than all the apostles, all the angels, and even the Virgin Mary herself. The Pope, he said, was equal to Christ himself. These claims were so extreme that they shocked even some of the Church's own leaders. But Tetzel was not just a man with a silver tongue. He was also a man with a mission. He traveled through Germany, raising funds for the Pope and the Archbishop. In the northeast of Germany, in places like Magdeburg, Halberstadt, and Mainz, the people were particularly vulnerable. These areas had been chosen for the sale of indulgences because they were weak and could be easily exploited. The papal nuncio to the Holy Roman Empire had warned the Pope about the risk, but Leo ignored the warning. Tetzel's methods were so effective that he always exceeded his quota. Indulgences were popular among the peasantry, but less so among the educated and influential members of society. In Saxony, ruled by Frederick III, also known as Frederick the Wise, the situation was different. Frederick was a powerful and respected ruler who had collected thousands of saintly relics in Wittenberg's castle church. He was deeply troubled by the reports of Tetzel's extravagant claims and the way the sale of indulgences was draining the wealth of his people, Frederick decided to take action. He declared that Tetzel and his Jubilee sale were not welcome in his territory. This was a bold move, and it had significant consequences. Tetzel, knowing he wasn't wanted in Saxony, pushed the boundaries of his territory. He came so close to the border that some Saxons crossed over and bought his indulgences. This act of defiance by Frederick set the stage for one of the most significant events in history. A young priest named Martin Luther, who had been troubled by the corruption and abuse within the church, saw an opportunity. On October 31st, 1517, he nailed his 95 theses to the door of Wittenberg's castle church, challenging the sale of indulgences and the church's practices. This act marked the beginning of the Protestant Reformation, a movement that would forever change the face of Christianity and the world. The Reformation was not just a religious movement. It was a social and political revolution. It challenged the authority of the Catholic Church and the Pope, and it gave people the power to question and interpret the Bible for themselves. It led to the rise of new forms of Christian worship and the establishment of new churches, such as the Lutheran and Calvinist churches. The Reformation also had a profound impact on politics, leading to the rise of nation-states and the decline of the Holy Roman Empire. The story of the sale of indulgences and the Reformation is a powerful reminder of the dangers of corruption and the importance of standing up for what is right. It shows that even the most powerful institutions can be brought to their knees by the courage and determination of a few individuals. In the end, the people of Germany and the world were no longer willing to be exploited by a church that had lost its way. They demanded change, and they got it. Today, we look back on the Reformation as a turning point in history, a moment when the world was forever changed. It reminds us that the fight against injustice and corruption is never finished, and that the power to make a difference lies within each and every one of us.